Did you know that when parents are asked what they would do if they had 1 extra hour every day, most parents say they would use it for sleep? Are you exhausted trying to balance kids, work, and play? Do you want more purpose and less monotony in your life? Do you get overly irritated, frustrated, and angry with your children? If you've answered yes to some of these questions, then I'm glad you're here. I know how busy you are, and I'm not here to take your time. I'm here to help you take it back. Close your windows, open your mind, and let's kick some ass.
Hello, sir, and welcome to Kick-Ass Dad.
Passionate parenting in a volatile world. I have no idea what that was. That was fun. All right, so I think that my theme for today, and I kind of come up with these things off the cuff when it comes to like the 15 minutes episode. It's it's kind of stream of consciousness and what I'm thinking about that day. And for me, today is about fun, and we oftentimes take ourselves so damn seriously, and we don't make time for fun, and we push our fun over the cognitive horizon, right? I'll have fun when, or I'll hang out with my kids and I'll get on the floor and play when, and I'm sitting here, I'm outside right now, and right after this podcast, I'm going to go inside and play with my kids because they're playing Monopoly right now, and I'm out here chatting with you, and I think this is incredibly important, but I need to have some fun today, and I'm going to go do that with my kids. So that's going to be what's going to happen right after this episode. But for now, I wanted to talk about fun and how it relates to our energy levels and how it relates to our productivity. And what I find is that when I'm not having fun with what I'm doing, then my life is not energetic. I'm not passionate. I'm slumped over. My physiology, and this is something that's quite interesting. And this is something that Tony Robbins talks about. David Wood, Kick-Ass Life. You should check that out. It's a great podcast. David Wood, The Kick-Ass Life. It's wonderful. And they talk about how the physiology, right? So if you're slumped over and your shoulders are bent and you've got a frown on your face, how do you feel, right? Versus, let's say you love basketball and you're out of the basketball. I heard Dwight Howard talking about this the other day and how he smiles whenever he's playing basketball. And think what you may or may not about Dwight Howard, but one of the things that kind of struck me was how his father used to tell him, why are you smiling out there? You need to get serious. You need to get focused. And he's like, Dad, I love playing ball, and I'm going to have a smile on my face while doing it. And his father approached him at the end of the season and said, man, you've been kicking some ass lately, and you got that smile on your face, and you're having fun, and it just seems to light you up, and it opens you up. Go for it, kid. And I think that's one of the things that we often lack in our society, and we're stuck in these ruts and these, crappy jobs and these shitty 9-to-5s, and we come home and we're all, shut down, and we don't open up and communicate with our kids, and we don't get on the floor and play, and we don't talk to our wives, we don't get honest about how we feel, and, we just create these negative spirals, and we all have interactions with children, and, we're coming off as these kind of ogres, and the kids are like, what the hell? I don't want to grow up. These people are crazy. They get wrapped up in their world, and they forget to have fun, and they're not creating this big, energetic personality that can, lead the next generation into, posterity, and we're shutting down. And as a society, as parents, if we shut down on our kids, man, we're blowing it big time, guys. We're blowing it big time, because if our kids don't have the role models, and, we've all had that person in our life who's just been like, when shit's at its worst and when the world seems bleak, they're up and they're energetic and they're passionate still, no matter what's going on. And that's what inspires me every day to be a better parent, is to go, you know what? I'm going to focus on, what's going on down the road by being my best today. I'm going to build a great future for my kids by being on fire today and getting on the floor and playing with them and showing them that there is a way to, be happy and be energetic, and going back to that physiology and, sit up, put your shoulders back, put a smile on your face. It's very, very difficult, put a big old smile on your face. It's really freaking hard to not be energetic and happy when you do those things. So connecting your physiology with your attitude. And the next time you are just so fed up or so frustrated, I want you to just, smack your hands together, put your shoulders back, put a smile on your face, and make a mental note and say, no, I'm not going to let the outer world beat me down. I'm going to take responsibility for my own emotional state of being. I'm going to transform myself into a positive, energetic person who's passionate about, kids, who's passionate about my kids and the next generation. And I'm going to be that example for them, that I'm not going to be this, tiny, tiny little person who is unwilling to change or is unwilling to transform. That's my truth. For me, that's my truth. My truth is, it's the mentor. We are all mentors, whether we know it or not. I think, who is it? Charles Barkley said, I'm not a mentor. Bullshit, brother. Okay? If you're on the stage, if people are looking at you, you're a role model. He said role model. Yeah, I'm not a role model. Baloney. So whether you're a positive role model or a negative role model, you're not a role model. You can't hide from your kids, right? They sense everything. They pick up everything. Whether they can articulate it or not, they're seeing it. And what you're doing, how you're being, how you're acting today. If you get a crappy day at work and every day is crappy and you come home and act like a jerk every single day, well, you are a role model. I'm not going to absolve you from that. I am a role model to my kids, regardless of if I'm a good role model or a crappy role model. I'm still a role model. And whether or not you have kids, you may not even have kids, but you're still a role model. Everything that you do that affects a child, you have an effect on the next generation. You have an effect, and whether you are a small thinker and you don't think you do. This is something kind of funny, and it's something that I can't remember where I heard it, but it's a quote, and it's, whether or not you think you can, you're probably right. So whether you think you can do something or you think you can't, you're probably right. So it all starts with our minds, right? It all starts with what we believe about ourselves. And if you think that you want to make an impact in the world and you think you can. So do it. So stop being this tiny, tiny little person who is having a negative impact on the people around you. Right? We talk about, and this is something that Stephen Covey talks about, and he talks about being that agent of change. Right? So in a family, let's say you come from just an abusive family. Are you going to carry on the abuse to the next generation? Or are you going to be that change agent who says, nope, I don't have to. I'm going to grow beyond. I'm going to do the work in myself to be the change that my family, the next generation needs from me. And if you can make that, if you can plant that stake in the road and say, I'm no longer my past, I'm no longer... that's something I've always told myself. That was one of my mantras that I carried for years, was the past does not equal the future. So who I was is not who I'm going to be, so that I can have the energy in the present moment to put enough into me, put that oxygen mask on myself so I can then affect change in other people and give my kids the future that I want them to have. And something that kind of came to my head recently was, don't seek the truth, speak the truth, or speak your truth. And I think that we all have a truth. and we all have a purpose, and it's the negativity outside of us and the fear of what people will think by speaking our truth that truly shuts us down, and it creates blocks in our lives that keep us from being our very best self. And I think that's a tragedy. It is an absolute tragedy that we focus so much on finding that truth and telling everybody else, I found the truth. We do it in politics, we do it in religion, we do it in economics, we do it in pretty much everything in life. We seek outside of ourselves for the truth, and then we try to, bring that truth. This is the truth, and I want you to believe it because you need to believe the truth that I found outside of myself. And I just encourage you to shake off that kind of thinking, because that thinking doesn't serve the greater good. The greater good is best served by finding your most authentic self, by finding the truth within you that is not based on your ego, that is not based on your need to be right, but is based on your passion. If you have a passion for kids and for helping kids, then do that. If you have a passion for gardening, or if you have a passion for science or engineering or whatever it is that you have, that it's your truth, and it speaks through you. I was talking to my wife last night because she's just been banging away at this book, right? So she's on her second novel, and she's like knocking 10 pages out a day, and it took her 3 years to write her first novel. And she's going to be halfway through this second novel in 2 months. So, I'm like, it just occurred to me. I'm like, you know what, honey? I think we all have this kind of muse, right? This truth, this purpose that's speaking to us all the time. And it's when we show up to speak that truth that it comes through us. And it's not always going to be well articulated. It's not always going to be perfect. And David Wood always talks about ready, fire, aim. So, instead of ready, aim, fire, we talk ourselves out of speaking our truth by saying, we'll get there. I want to make sure it's perfect first before I do it. So I'm gonna get ready. I'm gonna aim and make sure that I've got it in target, and then I'm gonna shoot. And most of the people in life never pull the trigger. I'm asking you to pull the trigger. So what I was talking about with my wife was that she's showing up every day. She's showing up to write, to put her fingers to the keyboard and just type. And, I really believe we've got this purpose or this muse just waiting to come through us, but it can't come through if we don't show up to let it through. And what she's done is she's come out every day and typed, 1 or 2 pages or a paragraph. There are days where she'd type 1 paragraph in a day, but that's success. Because she's doing it a little bit every day. And when your muse and your purpose and your spirit knows that you're going to show up, and you keep showing up day after day, then that muse, that purpose, that spirit is going to show up more often too. So you're showing up, then it's showing up, and you're showing up. And it has faith now that you're going to be there. So where's that energy going to go? It's going to come to you. It's going to come, that creative force is then going to come more to you because you're the one showing up every day to be the facilitator, right? So we're not these giant egos. We have built our egos up to support the feelings that we're afraid to have, right? So we need a big ego, because how else are we going to rationalize to ourselves that we're worthy of existence? Because if we don't love ourselves, then we need this big ego, and we need to be right and to prove our point in order to create some kind of self-appreciation, right? Because we need that energy to fuel us, to get us from day to day. If we don't love ourselves, then we need this giant ego to prove that we're worthy, right, to other people. And we need that appreciation and justification, and we need other people to give us what we can't give ourselves, and that's a shame, because it's right here. Everything you need is already inside of you, and that's what I really want people to understand, is that you don't need somebody else to tell you you're valuable. that's up to you. And so I certainly encourage you. And for me, I listen to positive people all the time who encourage me to tell myself that I'm valuable, right? But I don't want you to need me to tell you that. That's up to you. So by showing up every day and saying I'm valuable, and showing up every day and finding whatever it is you're passionate about and your purpose in life, that's the key to that muse or that purpose coming to you, is showing up. Just whatever it is. For me, it's this podcast. So just showing up to do the podcast. I know it's not perfect. I know that sometimes I talk too fast, or that I say too many times, or that stuff. But am I just going to record 1 million podcasts and then only listen to it myself, and then tweak every one and make sure it's perfect before I release it into the world? No. Ready, fire, aim. So by showing up and putting my work out there, I get feedback from other people. Oh, maybe you could do this. Maybe you could tweak that. Maybe you could do this. And then now I have feedback from other people, right? And they're helping me to chip away at making this blog or this podcast the best that it can possibly be. I could spend my whole life, tweaking it and never getting it out there. But that would just be a waste of my time, and I'm not, helping anyone, and I'm not affecting anyone. And at the end of the day, my goal is to create this organization that empowers men and women to be great parents. And I can create a blog and a website that sustains itself and fuels itself. And we'll talk about more ways that you can support the website. And there are a lot of costs associated with doing this. This isn't free for me to do, but I'm passionate about it, so I'm going to get it out there. So I encourage you to show up, whatever it is your purpose is. Show up a little bit every day and put it out there. Be willing to be a little vulnerable, to not be perfect, to get yourself out there, and don't seek the truth. Speak your truth. And I think that's going to be a lot more effective at helping you be your highest and most authentic self. I think religion is great, and what people get out of it, if you're getting positive things out of it, that's fantastic. Do what serves you. But at the end of the day, you've got to be honest and speak your truth, and your muse will come to you. So I'm going to wrap it up for now. I'm going to go play with my kids. We're going to go play Monopoly. But I want you to take that into heart, internalize it, and make today a kick-ass day.